Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over another New Universe comic book called Kickers Inc. This is the second to last one. The only one we have left is Cyforce, and then we will be done with the New Universe, which is kind of unfortunate because it can't, even though I don't love all of the books, they definitely have a special place in my heart and in my history of comic book lore. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own work. This is Random Access. It's a full-size, full-color, 12-page comic book that I produce every month. And you can get this at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin for $3 for a comic book every month, and shipped right to you. Or you can go to my website, alexanderturbin.com, and excuse me, or you can go to my website, alexanderturbin.com, or you can message me at alexturbin0441 at Yahoo, or alexturbin0441 at Instagram. There's backups by Paul Courtjohn and lots of different other artists over the span of the comic book. There's been different artists. There's Jake Quirk and Chris Knox and a whole bunch of different other amazing artists. Another little tidbit of news. We still have we have a new poll going on. The winners of last week's was between Wiles Portacio and David Mazzucchelli. Was David Mazzucchelli. So we've got some fantastic winners going on into the next bracket, but these are our new guys, Bill Sienkiewicz and Eddie Campbell. So check out the poll, check out the links in the description to go to the poll, or just to let us all know who your favorite artist is. So far, Sienkiewicz is winning, but Eddie Campbell definitely has a few votes on his own, so that's intriguing because I kind of thought Sienkiewicz was going to trounce Eddie, but not so. So New Universe Kickers Inc., part of the new line that Marvel was trying to create, a new universe, a new line of comic books, kind of like they did with the Ultimates, and the Ultimates succeeded, and the new universe kind of floundered, and I think that's a big reason why Jim Shooter lost his job as editor-in-chief, and it was just kind of a big flop. But there's a lot of us out there that kind of enjoyed it. I mean, I liked DP7. I like Justice Inc. Not Justice Inc. It's Justice, and I liked a few of them. Some of them I didn't really love. I didn't get into Kickers Inc. The only reason I got this one, number 5, is because it has a Displaced Paranormals crossover, and I am a sucker for crossovers. I love crossovers, and I'm doing them in my own comics. This next story arc with the Return of the Old Gods is going to be probably my biggest crossover yet in the my newest Random Access storylines. When I was young, in my 10 pagers that I would do, I would pencil 10 pages and on like Xerox copy paper, and just while I was at school or whatever, I'd be drawing and stuff. And I had my characters. I had Roz and Ember Guard and the Death Knights and stuff like that, and they all had crossovers and stuff. And maybe I don't know, maybe I'll print those. I'm not sure. I only have a few of them, but I have enough pages to do a couple comics. So I don't know. Let me know if you would find that interesting at all. So Kickers Inc. So I didn't really know the storyline behind Kickers Inc. But I found it very good, and I kind of would go back and get Kickers Inc. #1 if I saw it in the dollar bin. So obviously that's getting a 7 automatically. It starts off with Kickers Inc. Freaks Are for Fighting, and guest starring DP7. Like I said, I'm sucker for a crossover, and it's got the big bald guy, and he's smashing the leader of the Kickers Inc. I guess Kickers Inc. It doesn't have an introductory thing at all saying what Kickers Inc. is, and I've never really understood it. They're just these football players that their leader or the quarterback, he has super strength. So when the white light hit, which is basically everything that happened, which some say it was the Beyonder being defeated. Some say that it was the Ultimate Universe being created or being destroyed or whatever. Um, but there's this white light, and all of these people got powers, but it was a little bit more uh, ingrained in normal life than the Marvel universe, which is kind of what they were looking for, which is what they looked for in the Ultimates universe as well, to just make it a little bit more realistic. That's kind of always been Marvel's mantra, is make it realistic and people will flock to it. And it's kind of true, because Marvel, when they came on the scene, and it's like that there's an editorial where Jim Shooter talks about how before Marvel, there wasn't any plumbing in houses. There wasn't any electrical wires. There wasn't any basements. It was just, you could pick up a house. If you had super strength, you could pick up a house and throw it, and there weren't going to, the walls weren't going to crumble. The pipes weren't going to fall through, all of this kind of stuff. So they've always been trying to make things a little bit more realistic. And that's why the Marvel fans like it. And that's why the DC fans don't seem to like it. I think that's one of the things that Joe, my partner in crime, in the poll videos and some of the other videos that we look at together when we're streaming, one of the things we were talking about when we were making our own comic, the Entropy Alliance, was he wanted the cities to be called like fictional cities, like Star City or Star Village or stuff like that, kind of like the DC cities are Gotham and Metropolis and stuff. I don't really care. In my random access universe, it's definitely all there's New York City, there's Chicago, there's all these real places. But he wanted it to be fictional cities, and I said right off the bat, that is the difference between a Marvel fan and a DC fan. You just have that little bit more you have that little bit of wanting things to be a little bit more fictional or fantasy or something like that, I think, for DC. And it shows in the characters for DC. The characters are more godlike and powerful in DC than they are in Marvel, whereas Marvel is a little bit more realistic. But so we have the beginning where the ball guy's punching this guy. I'm Jack Magniconti. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And he's a quarterback for the New York Smashers, I think. It is very weird. There has never been a fictional football movie with real life football teams. It's very odd. Like there's baseball. Like you have the what's that one? Anyway, there's a bunch of baseball movies, and they all have real teams. They all have White Sox, Red Sox, Yankees, whatever. But in football, I don't think there's a single fictional universe. Not to say that it's science fiction or fantasy or whatever, but just any kind of universe where there's football. They don't. It's like the not The Longest Yard, but Any Given Sunday. They use fictional football teams. I don't think the NFL wants their product to be kind of used in any kind of fictional way, which is very unusual and odd. You would think that they would really want that kind of exposure, like the baseball or hockey, or whatever, but they don't. So anyway, I think it's the New York Smashers. I may be wrong. By the way, anybody that knows anything about Kickers Inc., if I get something wrong, please let me know. Like I said, this is the 5th one. I don't have the first one, and I never really was that big of a fan of it. So let me know what you guys liked and what you didn't like about this. It's one of those comics where something big happens, and then we go back. It all begins here on a blustery morning in early November at Kickers Inc.'s headquarters complex in Flushing, Queens. So it's how much does it say? It doesn't say when it was. So it's like a few days. I think it's a few days before. So it's like a TV show or movie or whatever that starts with the ending and then goes back to when the story happened. So the Kickers Inc. are basically, they help these paranormal people, not so much the DP7 people, but anybody that has an unusual power or gift or whatever that was created by the white light. These football players, they've got lots of money, they've got lots of fame and everything, and so they're trying to help people out. So they're good Samaritans. I'm just not a big fan. I like sports. I love sports. I love hockey. That's my favorite. But I also love baseball. I'm not a big fan of basketball, but football, I can get sucked into football. Um, it's fun to bet on. It's, the Super Bowl is always fun. It's, it's kind of a fun thing. It's not my favorite. I definitely love hockey and baseball way more, but football is a fun sport to watch too. I didn't like it at the time. This came out in, 90, uh, in 87. This came out in 87, and I just was not into football or sports or anything in high school, junior high, anything like that. I just like sports. Jocks were not like the adult jocks or sports or whatever. They kind of were jerks. In my estimation, maybe that's why I like comic books. Maybe that's why I liked comic books instead of sports, even though I did play softball in Little League or whatever. So the story is they have this Kickers Inc., which is like an investigative kind of thing, and they investigate weird stuff. And the wife of Joe Magnacones she's like the leader of the Kickers Inc. He may be the leader of the team, but she is the leader of the business, and he swoops her up and he's giving her some cuddles, and she gets all angry about it, saying that how she's supposed to be professional when he goes and does all that kind of stuff. He's like, sorry, yeah, whatever. And then they kind of talk about how he has super strength. He can bench press a whole lot and super strong, super fast or whatever. And they kind of talk about how he has to tone it down a little bit to make to play football, and how it's a little, it's, if it's not difficult, then there's no point in playing football. So he's just trying to make it a little bit harder on himself. This is after the first issue of DP7. The DP7 are on the run from the clinic, and they're security people and all that stuff. So they're in a campground, and they're getting food, and they're just trying to sustain themselves and build a campfire and all that stuff, trying to stay off the radar from the clinic and stuff. Very basic, run of the mill, running from the law kind of thing, like the Hulk or any kind of thing like that. They're just kind of having little discussions. The one girl, Lisa, I think that's her name, Stephanie. She's the mom, and she misses her kids, misses her children, and so she's always calling them. But the husband and the stepmom or mother-in-law won't let her talk to her children. So that's kind of a big thing. And she finally does get to talk to her son. And before this, the wife of Joe Jack says they're talking about different cases and stuff. And she says that a 6-year-old kid called because his mother is on the run from some bad guys, and it really vexes her. And she really is trying to get the kid to have the mother call her, and maybe they can help Stephanie and with whatever her problem is. So that's what the kid tells Stephanie. He tells her that he called the Kickers Inc. and that he's trying to get her help. And she's like, okay, I might give it a try. The mother-in-law is angry that the kids are talking to her, and she makes him hang up. So she get all upset and stuff, and she goes into the arms of Dave, who is like the bruiser of the group. And Dave's like, oh, she's married, but what kind of jerk husband makes his wife go on the run because she can heal people? That's just ridiculous, and he's no husband. So they just have a little bit of character developments and stuff where then they're talking about the kickers and whether or not they should call him, and the guy that looks like Rusty, he's like, no way, we can't trust anybody. But the speedster guy is like, hey, let's try this. So they're just having a little bit of discussion as to whether or not they should call the Kickers Inc. And then it goes back to Kickers Inc. And they're developing a little bit of banter and stuff in the group. Like there's like a Human Torch thing kind of thing going on between some of the characters where they're like do practical jokes and pranks and stuff like that. But they're also at each other's throats and stuff. But the wife is trying to calm him down, calm everybody down, and get him on the same page and get him focused. And I think she called Stephanie called Kickers Inc. Um, uh, no, I can't remember if she actually did. Um, yeah, she did call him. And she's kind of discussing the new case. But then we go to football practice, and this is when Jack is running around the field he's got what 13. This is my 13th lap. Another dozen or so should do it. It's only in the last few laps that I've started to breathe hard. So he's trying to wear himself down for the game because, like he said before, or maybe this is where he's saying it now, that it's only worth playing football if he has some sort of makes it a little bit even. If it's a little bit of a challenge, that's the only way that it's worth his time. This is kind of interesting. They go through the game. He's not playing at his full tilt because he's worn out and he's done like 25 laps around the football field and stuff like that. And then his coach gives him a hard time because they barely won, or I guess it was 21-17. So they barely won. And this coach, which is very awesome, his name is Kirby, and he looks just like Jack Kirby, and I feel like he's supposed to be Jack Kirby, a representation of Jack Kirby, which is awesome. That in a New Universe comic book, even though it's New Universe, you were still getting this homage to Jack Kirby, who was, the king of Marvel and stuff like that. So that's fun. And there's also another little prank between two of the Kickers Inks. So there's a nice little dynamic going on. And somebody puts whipped cream in the shoe, and the other one is like angry, and they're fighting and stuff. But it's all kind of good natured and everything because they're all friends. This is when the leader or the wife tells everybody about the new case that they're going to be on, because they go on these cases trying to help people. So they're philanthropic. I can't say it, philanthropic. They're trying to help people anyway. And so she's telling them about the new case and Stephanie and the DP7 and how she got the call. And she's telling them about how the husband, how they woke up. She had these sparkly powers. She made everybody hypercharged. And so it's a healing power, but they didn't know that at the beginning. So the husband sends her to the clinic, kind of ostracizing her from the family. And that's what the wife is telling everybody. And that's where DP7 comes in, because they go to the Kickers Inc. And they kind of are just learning about the DP7's powers, because they try to figure out is this case worth their time and their money and all of this stuff. And so they learn about their powers, and the one that can make things slip or slot or stick, she shows off stuff. And Stephanie, who's got her healing powers and everything. So they kind of show off a little bit of their healing powers. And then the Kickers go and they're trying to decide whether or not they're going to help the DP7. I don't know why it's an issue, and some of them don't really want to help, but the wife and Jack, or Joe, I can't remember his name, Jack or Joe. I think it's Jack. They are like, we're going to help these people. We're going to do whatever we can, and we're going to at least investigate and see what's going on. So they go to the clinic. The Kickers Inc. go to the clinic. But before that, the head of the clinic is having this discussion with his cronies, who also have superpowers and stuff. One of them can control minds, and one of them can do different stuff. And they're just, they're evil cronies and evilness in the clinic. They do meet the Kickers, and the clinic's position, or their plan, is to get the Kickers to kind of drive a wedge between the Kickers and the paranormals. And so they're going to use all of their powers to kind of get the Kickers to try to bring the paranormals back. But even if they don't, they'll still help them in locating the TP7 and figuring all that kind of stuff out. So they go through all the clinic with the kickers, and they give them the same spiel that they did the DP7 crew, saying how they're there to help them, and it's like a really rehabilitative clinic, and they're not there to help hurt them. And yes, they do want to get the DP7 crew back, but it's because they're a danger to themselves and a danger to other people because of their unusual powers. So they have this mental person, this psychic, reinforcing all of the things that the leader of the clinic is saying to the kickers. So the kickers start to think that the DP7, they're really bad guys. So they're like, hurry back, because Joe's wife is one of she's hanging out with the DP7, and he's very worried that everything that the clinic people said was correct about them. So they want to get back to the group and protect his wife from the DP7, because he thinks that they're going to hurt them, hurt her and whoever. So they get back. He kind of gives the bald guy Dave some guff, and to use a nice Marvel DC comic book slur, gives him some guff and kind of starts a fight with him. But Dave is huge. He's super strong. He's way stronger than the Joe or Jack or whatever his name is, the football player. And so he starts pounding on him and really giving him the what for, and he's like smashing him. He gets waylaid a little bit, and this is my favorite part of the book. When you have a crossover by two teams, you want there to be a battle. Every crossover has to have some sort of battle, whether it's Spider-Man and the X-Men or whatever. The first they fight, then they team up. So these guys did it kind of backwards, where first they team up and then they fight. So Dave, though, he handily, he's just a brute. He's just super strong, and he can, smack around these regular football players. I think Joe or Jack or whatever his name is the only super strong one. I think the others are regular football players and regular big dudes. So they're big dudes, but they're nowhere near Dave's super strength. And so the kicker, Magnicala or whatever his name is, pulls out a sign. So he's going to start smashing Dave, or trying to. And but the doctor and his entity, they're trying to calm things down, because they realize something weird is going on, and they're trying to calm everyone down. But the Dave just smacks the entity, and because sometimes he's solid, sometimes he's like a spectral ghost. And I guess when he was becoming solid, Dave gave him a backhand and sent him flying. All of the women are away on a walk, and because that's why the Kickers Inc. was so upset. They were like, "Where's my wife? Where's my wife?" And Dave tried to tell them that they were on a walk, but they're they were psychically hurt or subdued or whatever by this the woman in the clinic, and also it's like the Force. It's like the Emperor and Anakin. The Emperor was using his words, as well as the dark side of the Force to influence Anakin. That's the same thing with the clinic. They were trying to influence the Kickers Inc., and they did. So they're all up against arms against the DP7, and that's why the big fight started, pretty much. But the girls get back, and they're trying to stop it, but these guys, they're just going fisticuffs, mano a mano, attacking each other, and they just wanted to stop. He pounds the Kickers Inc. quarterback really pretty bad, and there probably should have been more blood, because his face was like mashed up. But they stop Dave, and Stephanie uses her healing powers to kind of calm him down, but also she uses her healing powers to heal the Kickers Inc. guy. And then the rusty looking character that can melt things with his hands, he says, "We better go. We got to go. The clinic's probably on our asses, and we got to go. They're going to be after us." So the wife says that we need to help them, but the quarterback says that they've got other things to do. They can't spend their whole time helping this group of people, which is kind of selfish. And he should have been like, "Yeah, we're going to help these guys. These guys are in trouble." But learning from the all of the stuff that the clinic did and all of that stuff, you would think that he would be like, "Let's help them. Let's go help them and do everything we can." But he says, "No, we can't spend all of our time doing this. So he decides that they're not going to. But the wife says, we are going to do one thing. So he goes to visit the husband and kind of threatens him and says, you're going to let Stephanie see her kids or talk to her kids whenever he wants, or I'm going to come back here and smash your face in. So the husband's like, okay, whatever. And then the DP7 guys, they take off in their bus and their RV or whatever, and they're still fleeing the clinic and stuff. And that's pretty much how it ends. Stephanie can see her kids, talk to her kids, and that makes her happy, but she's still upset that she's separated from them. So it's a bittersweet ending, as all of these crossovers really kind of should be. So I didn't say who did the writing and art and everything. The plot was Tom DeFalco. The script is Mark Gruenwald. Pencils were Paul Ryan. Inks are Della Rosa and Friends. And letters, Diana Albers, and colors is Willington and Jackson. Editor is Michael Higgins, and editor-in-chief Jim Shooter. So I'm not a big fan of Paul Ryan. He's done a lot of comic books that I've read. A lot of Thor. He did a lot of Thor. And I can't even remember all of the books he's done. I feel like he was always a filler artist. And, you put him on something that you didn't really want to get that popular or whatever. So I kind of feel like they were trying to give him as much of a break as they could. I don't have a problem with him. I say I don't like him. He's just somebody that he's professional. He's very professional. This was a good read. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the writing. Tom DeFalco, I liked the plot in Mark Gruenwald's script. I liked the dialogue. All of that stuff was really cool, really enjoyable. It's very standard crossover mix. There's nothing new to it. They're not breaking any kind of new ground. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy reading it. And I did enjoy looking at the art. The art is pretty cool. Very standard. Nothing in Ryan's art is going to make you go, hey, I really need to get more of his stuff. But at the same time, it's very professional, very enjoyable reading. You never have to go back and reread anything. You're never confused about what's going on. It's enjoyable to look at. There's a whole lot of writing. There's a lot of text. There's a lot of writing. There's a lot of stuff like that. But he weaves his art in and out of the word balloons, and there's a lot of them. And it's one of those things that a few years later, if he had been, in the comic books field, you would have made these panels which are very standard 5-6 page panels per page. You would have had the bigger panel that we're using the big money shot, trying to get what's to be conveyed along with the narrative and stuff going on. So it's enjoyable. I liked it, but I don't love his artwork. There's nothing here that really grabs my attention and makes me feel like I have to see it again. Kickers Inc. I would buy more in the dollar bin. But after that, I did enjoy it. I'm going to say, let's give this an 8. As you know, I grade Marvel and DC a little bit harder because they've got all of these people working on it. They've got this big corporation. They've got lots of money. They've got all this stuff going for them. They've got all of these characters that even if they're not well defined or have a backstory or a history, there's a history for Marvel. So it all works in their favor much more than in indie comics. So I'm going to grade them harder. I'm going to give it an 8. Better than I thought. Kickers Inc. would be, because a lot of these sports, Super Pro, I think it was, or whatever, it's just kind of them trying to cash in on football being popular at the time or whatever, and they don't put their whole heart into it. So I did enjoy it, like I said, so I'm giving it an 8. Let me know what you guys thought. As you know, I love to hear about your guys' experiences, especially with New Universe. Did you start reading comic books when New Universe came out like me? I think there's a lot of you out there that did. So let me know your experiences. Did you pick up Kickers Inc? Did you pick up DP7? Did you pick this up because it was a crossover? Let me know. And let me know what you think about crossovers. So if you're new to the channel, this is kind of what I do. For the majority, I do indie comics from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and stuff like that. But I also do Marvel and DC, whatever really kind of catches my fancy. But we also have the poll. This week is Bill Sienkiewicz and Eddie Campbell from Hell fame, and Bill Sienkiewicz from Everything fame. He's just an amazing artist. But they're really both fantastic artists. And so check out the poll. And if you're new to the channel and you have never seen me before, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, giving me a thumbs up, and all of that fun stuff. I really truly appreciate it. But more than that, leave a comment if you're new to it because of this Kickers Inc. and the new universe, and you're checking it out. Let me know what you thought of all of the comics that you're looking at and stuff, and that you have. And because I love to talk comic books with you guys, and it's my favorite thing to do 3 times a week. So have a great weekend. It's Friday. Have an excellent weekend. And I will be back probably on Saturday or Sunday with the live stream with Joe. And we will be looking at some more cool stuff, more cool comics. And till then, till Monday, keep on creating.